But what if we had a Google Android device? How would we actually join that network? So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with what we started with in our Apple environment. Android clients natively support what types of EAP? What types of EAP does the Android 4.4 clients, what do they support? This device we're looking at right now, what does it support? I'll give you a hint, it's 2. There's only 2 here. The Apple, it was 4. There's only 2 here. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you to pause the video now and give me your answers. Write it down. All right. Hopefully you had time to answer because I'm about to give you a giant spoiler. All right. So what are the types supported? It's EAP with TLS and PEEP. All right. Those are the 2 types supported with Android 4.4. So let's move on to the next part. What are the steps you would use to join a network with an Android 4.4 device? How would you actually go about it? Go ahead and pause the video right here. Write down on that sheet of paper the steps you would take. All right, now hopefully you had some time, and I'm going to go into the answers now. First off, we don't have a settings button here, so what we would use is the home button. Then we would press menu and settings. But what's next? Where do we go from here? Once you do that, you would go to the entry, Wi-Fi entry, the Wi-Fi entry, and turn it on. If it's not turned on already, make sure to turn it on. Then we press Wi-Fi to access the configuration tool. And let me adjust this a little bit. Wi-Fi, and that brings us to config. Okay, so Wi-Fi button will bring us to the configuration. Now the device is like any other wireless device you've seen your entire life. It's going to scan for available wireless networks, and it'll display the ones that we find. Now secured networks are indicated with a little lock icon, right? So what happens is the device scans and we're presented with a list, right? Device scans and comes up with a list. So what happens next in this process? Well, if the device finds a network that is in a profile somewhere, then it's going to connect to that last network used. If we have a profile, we connect. Great. So that's what we're looking for. That sounds great. Touch a network. So what if we don't have a profile? Well, then we have to look at that list and choose a network from the list. Okay, if we don't have a profile, we have to choose a network from a list. And if we have to choose from a network from a list, we have to connect to that list, right? I jumped the gun. Choose a network on the list, and then connect. I jumped the gun. We have to connect before anything can happen, right? What if it's secured, though? What happens if it's secured? Well, we're going to be prompted to enter our password, our username, any other credentials associated with that particular network. And then once we're prompted for connections, once we're done with that, we will be connected to the network, right? If we need details for confirmation or details, we would what? Tap on the name in the Wi-Fi settings screen. This will give us the types of connections you see here. And you can actually see on the very right-hand side of the screen, that is what we're looking at. These are the details. All right. So 1, home menu settings. 2, Wi-Fi, turn it on if it's not on already. Then we go to Wi-Fi for the config. 4, device scans and comes up with a list. If we have a profile already on that list, it'll automatically connect. We then, if we don't have a profile we use, we choose the network from the list that we want to connect to and click connect. We will be prompted with a username and password and then our confirmation details if we want to see it, like how we're connected, the signal strength, the speed. We can see that by clicking on our connected link. Now remember, in your Android device, if you see the wireless icon with a little lock on it, that means it is a secured network.